The town of Silent Hollows was old, older than anyone could remember. Nestled in the valley, it was a forgotten place. The people there were simple, their lives quiet, yet a shadow hung over Silent Hollows. It lived in the trees at the edge of town. The townsfolk called it the Whispering Woods. No one dared to go near the woods. Legends spoke of whispers that lured people astray. Stories were told of those who ventured in, never to be seen again. The woods stood silent, a menacing presence watching over the town. The townsfolk avoided it, their fear palpable. The whispers remained a haunting secret. Generations passed, and the legend of the Whispering Woods grew. The whispers became a terrifying folklore, a warning passed down to every child in Silent Hollows. "Stay away from the woods," they'd say. "Never listen to the whispers." Sarah was different. Unlike the other townsfolk, she wasn't afraid of the woods. She was a dreamer, her head filled with stories of adventure. Sarah longed to break free from the monotony of Silent Hollows. The Whispering Woods, with its air of mystery, called to her. One chilly autumn evening, Sarah decided to do what no one else dared. She would explore the woods. Ignoring the warnings that echoed in her ears, she set off towards the trees. The setting sun cast long shadows, deepening the mystery of the woods. Sarah, filled with a sense of excitement and trepidation, took her first steps into the unknown. The air grew cold as she entered the woods. The last rays of sunlight struggled to penetrate the dense canopy above. Sarah shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. A sense of foreboding washed over her. She pushed it aside, her curiosity overpowering her fear. As Sarah ventured deeper, the woods grew darker. The path, barely visible in the fading light, twisted and turned. It was as if the woods itself was trying to confuse her. The trees pressed close, their branches seeming to reach out towards her. An unsettling silence hung in the air, broken only by the sound of her own footsteps. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. She told herself it was just her imagination, fueled by the stories she had heard, but deep down a primal fear began to take root. She continued on, her pace slowing. The woods were disorienting, the path seemingly leading her in circles. Sarah tried to retrace her steps, but it was no use. She was lost. Panic welled up inside her. She was trapped. A gust of wind rustled the leaves above, sending a shiver down Sarah's spine. Then she heard it. A whisper, faint and indistinct. It seemed to come from the trees themselves. Sarah froze, her blood running cold. She strained her ears, listening intently. The whisper came again, closer this time. It was a soft, mournful sound, like a voice carried on the wind. Sarah couldn't make out the words, but there was a haunting familiarity to it. It was a sound that sent chills down her spine. She took a step back, her hand trembling as she reached for her flashlight. As she fumbled with the switch, the whispers grew louder. They swirled around her, a chorus of disembodied voices. Sarah felt a cold dread grip her heart. She was surrounded. Through the darkness, a faint light flickered. Sarah, her heart pounding in her chest, stumbled towards it. As she drew closer, she saw the outline of a small, dilapidated cabin. The windows were boarded up, and the door hung precariously from its hinges. It looked as if it had been abandoned for decades. Sarah hesitated for a moment, unsure whether she should enter, but the whispers seemed to be coming from inside. Driven by a strange compulsion, she pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air inside was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the floorboards creaked ominously beneath her feet. The only source of light came from a single window, partially boarded up. It cast long, eerie shadows across the room. Sarah's eyes slowly adjusted to the dim light. As she looked around, her gaze fell upon a table in the center of the room. On it lay a pile of old photographs, their edges faded and torn. Curiosity got the better of her, and she reached out to touch one. As she picked up the photograph, a cold shiver ran down her spine. The image showed a young woman, her face pale and drawn. Her eyes seemed to stare directly at Sarah, filled with a deep, unsettling sadness. It was as if she was trying to convey a message. Sarah quickly put down the photograph and picked up another. This one showed a young man, his expression twisted in a silent scream. His eyes were wide with terror, as if he had seen something truly horrifying. Each photograph Sarah picked up told a similar story of fear and despair. Suddenly the whispers grew louder, swirling around Sarah like a vortex of lost souls. The flashlight slipped from her grasp, plunging the cabin into darkness. Panic surged through her, threatening to consume her. She stumbled back, her hand frantically searching for the lost flashlight. The whispers seemed to be closing in on her, their voices filled with a mixture of anger and despair. They spoke of betrayal, of being lured into the woods and left to die. Sarah realized with a growing horror that these were the voices of those who had been lost to the woods, their souls trapped for eternity. A blood-curdling scream pierced the darkness, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps approaching. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, her breath catching in her throat. She was trapped, hunted by something she couldn't see. Driven by pure adrenaline, Sarah scrambled to her feet. Blindly, she ran towards the sound of the creaking door. She could hear the whispers closing in behind her, their voices filled with a cold, possessive hunger. Her hand found the door handle and she threw it open, stumbling out into the night. The fresh air hit her lungs, momentarily clearing her head. Without looking back, she ran. She ran until her legs burned and her lungs screamed for air. The whispers followed her, their voices echoing through the trees, urging her to stop, to come back. Finally, she burst out of the tree line, collapsing onto the familiar dirt road leading back to Silent Hollows. She lay there for a moment, gasping for breath, her body trembling uncontrollably. She had escaped the clutches of the whispering woods, but the experience had left an indelible mark on her soul. As Sarah slowly made her way back to town, the first rays of dawn began to break through the darkness. She paused at the edge of the woods, her gaze drawn to the dark and silent trees. A shiver ran down her spine as she remembered the whispers, the photographs, the sheer terror she had felt. She reached into her pocket for her phone, needing the reassurance of its familiar weight. As she pulled it out, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the cracked screen. Her heart skipped a beat. Staring back at her was the same look of sadness and despair she'd seen in the photographs in the cabin. Her eyes, once filled with life, now held a hollow, haunted look. The realization hit her like a physical blow. She hadn't escaped the whispering woods at all. She had become a part of it. The whispers had claimed her, just like they had claimed countless others before her, and now she would forever wander the woods, her voice joining the chorus of lost souls, forever bound to the whispering woods.